Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a very exciting tour of my Winnie the Pooh inspired 100 Acre Woods in the Peaceful Meadow Floating Island. And yeah, I really had fun making this build. And as you can see, there's already a lot going on behind me, but I hope I get to walk around and show you guys my build. And I hope you guys get some inspiration from it. So let's just get started. So as we walk up this entire island, you're going to notice that a common theme is you're going to see a lot of overgrowth with these beach grass, and then you're also going to notice a lot of winding paths. So it's a very complex pathing system here I have going on. I have a lot of different winding roads and little pathways, and if you guys would like to get a tutorial for how to make winding paths like this, I actually have one coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, this is a pretty big island, and so I'm just gonna start right over here. So over here we have Rabbit's house, and I'm using this premium shop housing skin. I think it's like the autumn house or something like that, but it has this big tree with the autumn leaves, and I thought it would be the perfect addition for this Winnie the Pooh build. Over here I've got Rabbit's farm. We have carrots, of course, but we also decided to add in some wheat to add extra texture to the build, and I like that. I also use a lot of these Vitalis mine lights because I noticed that they really do glow a lot in the floating islands, but when I put them in my main valley, they actually don't have this level of glow to them, so I definitely took advantage of that for the island build today. And as we look at the farm, I kind of decorated it in a very naturalistic way, so having a lot of random flowers from the valley, lots of grass, a lot of grass, trust me, and some of these seeds as decorations, and just giving it that cozy vibe. I used some of these trellises from the Storybook Vale Scrooge. Of course, if you don't have these, you can use the base game ones like this one right here, and just make a little tool shed for Rabbit. And then I just top it all off with some crates here and there, and it just gives this sort of active, worn-in vibe. So over here we have this really nice honey stall, and I actually used these potions, both the miraculous ones and the normal ones. I forgot specifically which ones they were, but I know that whichever one is the orange and yellow one, they make a very good substitute for honey. And I just liked how that looked. So we have a little honey stall going over here. And moving on to this area, I'll get to this roundabout later, but let me show you this area first. This is a very cozy picnic style table and rug. I have over here basically where Pooh and his friends would be sitting and eating honey, and I made sure to include some of these new Easter tables that we had from the event that just happened, or that's still happening. Not really sure when I'm gonna post this video, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna keep going. So I added a lot of these stools for the little smaller animals like Piglet, and just really adding on some more beach grass for that overgrown vibe, along with these plumeria flowers that you can find in underbrush. Moving on to here, I have this little well area. This is just filler, but it really makes the whole build seem like it's actually lived in. That's my favorite thing to do in builds like this. I like to make it look like people are actually using the space rather than just decorating it just to decorate it. And over here we have a little sneak peek of my honey river that I made. So if you've seen me countless times make my water rug, I made it exactly that way, except I just changed all of the colors to be yellow. And then here I just added a little seating area because, you know me, I really love my seating areas. With this rug, I actually made a normal one, which you see right here, but then I also made another rug as a sort of bridge, and that is just to make it seem more realistic because I doubt our character is gonna want to step into honey to cross. So I thought that was a cute little feature. And then I just surrounded the honey rugs with these ferns, foliage, rocks, just to sort of hide these edges. You can still see it here and there, like right where I'm standing, but there's not much you can do about that. So moving on, we're gonna go back to the center of our build, and I conveniently placed the well right over here. I think it just fits right there in a perfect space. And here we have Pooh's house. And this tree actually is not a house skin like I thought it would be. Even better, it's actually just an item that you can buy multiple of. So I actually use this tree a lot in different areas of the build. However, this is the only one that actually has the sign showing, and that is just to indicate that this is actually his house. And if you haven't noticed, I sort of decorated the paths this way. It's using these desert stones from the Oasis Star Path that just ended, but I also combine a mixture of Dazzle Rock stones along with Sunlit Plateau stones, and I think they just really create this texture that honestly I think looks very edible. It reminds me of granola bars or Snicker bars, which I think is really funny. So I made this a roundabout area, and as you can see there's more seating areas. And what I actually did here, which I really liked, was I actually left 1/3 of the island undecorated, which is this area over here. And basically what I did was I put a bunch of trees behind and then snuck in some wrought iron lights to kind of give this illusion that there's a deeper woods back there that we just can't reach. And it's a really cool idea to make the space seem bigger than it actually is. So walking around this roundabout, there was an empty space here when I was putting trees down, so I just made a little reading nook, which I thought was cute. Again, with the Vitalis mine lights, they just really add a little pop of light everywhere that you put them in. And put some books here. I used a lot of storybook veil trees as well. I think the autumn tones just really match with the green. And as you can see, this is exactly the area where I cut it off, and there's just a bunch of trees in the background. And I, once again, really utilizing the grass to just fill up the space and make it look natural. Got a little picnic spot over here, and just another seating over here. And then my favorite part of the build is my little honey farm. So over here, we've just got a couple stalls, and fun fact, these little yellow crock pots, they're very cute and kind of remind me of honey jars. So kind of just put that there, and you can even kind of see a little face there. Looks kind of cute. So over here, I actually added a Touch of Magic rug, and I added these honey splatters. It's a pretty simple rug. Let me know if you'd like a tutorial on this. I can make it into like a short or something because it's very simple and a really cool way to sort of create grass texture. And I really tried my hardest to match it with this grass over here. And I think from a distance it looks really good. I mean, once you start to get into it, it's a little funny. But yeah, over here we have our little honey farm and another stall. I really liked layering these Vitalis mine lights behind the little bee houses, and then it really just adds a glow to these honeycomb fences that you get craft from Eternity Isle. And you can see it right here as well. And I'm just really decorating it with a lot of these base game items that you can easily craft, like crates, sacks, whatever. And also these really cute honey jars. If you guys missed the premium items, then I'm sure it's gonna come back again soon, so don't worry. And I'm gonna give you a closer look of my honey rivers. So it's actually a little roundabout situation going on here. This was my first thing I did with this build actually, and then everything kind of came later. I liked to add these logs because it kind of looks like they're just drifting in the honey. And then right in the center, I've added this bee house, which I think is very cute, matches the whole aesthetic. There's not much going on inside. There's just like a couple items I put there to fill up the empty space, but other than that, it's pretty much all. I think the star is just the honey river. And in terms of what foliage I actually used for this entire build, I did a lot of these like bushes from the bind and some Eternity Isle foliage, definitely using some ferns as they can get pretty close to the rug and you can walk right through them. So you can honestly, if you don't want to walk through these specific pathways, you can actually enter at any point where there's a fern. A good life hack, I guess, for if you're building in a realm, but there's not really a need for it in the island because no resources spawn here. It's just a pretty chill place. But yeah, this was my entire walkthrough of the floating island, and I'm going to now give you guys a look at the overhead. So this is the overhead over here. I have a lot of winding paths. It actually looks a lot crazier now that I'm looking at it from above, but we just basically have a lot of diverging paths going into different areas. And of course, I will come out with that video soon to show you guys how to make winding paths like this. And another close-up view of my honey river. It's another roundabout situation, and you can see just how much rocks and foliage I used to really shape the river. And one more thing I wanted to show you was this really big mass of trees going on over here is basically all undecorated island. And I hope I can show you guys a good angle from back here, but this is kind of what it looks like in the back. It's basically one optical illusion. I like to do things like that where it kind of just creates an illusion of something bigger or something non-existent. And I think it adds a really cool touch. So it's really hard to see because of all of these trees. But yeah, this is the full overhead of my build. And I hope you guys can find some inspiration. If you guys liked this video, please feel free to give a like, subscribe, and definitely comment what your favorite part of this build was. Until next time, friends, bye!